Okay, let's get ready. It's going to be a long video. Maybe not so long. I'll see. I'll see if I cut all the parts. But today we're talking about what I loved about the UK when I used to live there. If you don't know who I am, my name is Marion. I'm French, but I used to live in the UK. I went there when I was 18. I'm describing all my experience in this video, so if you want to go and have a look first, please do it. But I used to live in the north of England. It was in York, to be precise, and I loved it. I stayed there for about 9 months, then I came back to France, went to law university, which was horrible. And then during my master, I stopped university and I dropped out, started working to save money, and basically went back to the UK because I loved it. So I went back to Manchester. I went to the university and I stayed for another year, and I studied linguistics. So I knew at that point that the only thing I really loved was the UK, learning English, anything or everything related to the culture or the language. So I thought I have to do something about it, and that's what I did. So I came back and then pursued my passion, I'd say. But overall, I stayed 2 years or school years in the UK, and I went back. And I went back probably over 20 times, just for holidays. I went back for Christmas, I went back for summer holidays, I went back all the time, literally all the time, because I love it so much. And when I speak about the UK, I speak about England, of course, where I was, but also Scotland, that I discovered much later, but I fell in love with the country and the people. So yes, that's where I went. And I feel that it's very, very different from France. So I'm going to explain to you what I loved about the country, the culture, and the people there. Okay, the first thing that I realized when I was in the UK is that people are not cold and friendly at all. There is this saying or the stereotype in France that people in the UK, British people, are not very friendly, they're not really open-minded, all of that. And when I was there, I was like, that's the opposite. We French people are like that, but not people in the UK. Or maybe I was very lucky as well because I was in the north and maybe people are different as well. But I felt like people were very, very friendly, very open-minded. I think people are quite lucky in the UK because you have big universities, and so you have a lot of people from different countries, different places, and all of that help, I think, growing that mentality and mindset, which is not the same at all in France. In France, we are very... we look alike, we dress alike, we are basically clones. That's a bit strange to say, but it's the reality. So I was shocked, but also impressed by that in the UK. Remember, I was 18 when I first went there, so it was quite a long time ago, and it was already, when was it? 2009, 10. So it was already 12 years ago. So it's been a while, but I'm sure that is even more now, even better. I was lucky enough to take classes in a language school, and I had friends from all over the world. So basically I had friends from Italy, Spain, Turkey, South Korea, Japan, lots of different places, lots of different countries, cultures, and we all learned quite a lot about each other's countries, cultures, languages. You know, we learned the first basic words, so it was just great. I've never experienced that in France, but mostly because we don't have lots of people coming to France, probably because of the barrier of the language. If you don't speak French, you can't find a job, you can't really live. So I think it's very tricky for people to immigrate to France if you don't speak French. While in the UK, already 12 years ago, even in the streets, in the shops, everywhere, I heard different accents, different people, and it was just fantastic. I loved it. Now, the second thing that I really loved about the UK is the pubs. Going to the pub, after school with my friends was just like the greatest thing ever. The pubs are great. It feels really homely. So, you have like carpets on the floor. It's with wood. So you don't feel strange. Doesn't feel unfriendly or cold at all. And I think it helps. You have some music. Sometimes you have bands playing. And it's just great because even in the early evening you can go, so you don't have to wait until like 10 p.m. to go. You can go at 5, 6 and then be home by 10, so even during the week you can go and there's no problem, which is not something very common in France. Usually you just go home and you might go out at the weekend. If you're very young, then you go out on Thursday, but that's basically it. And there is nothing really like it. Like, we have bars, but it doesn't feel the same. In York, there's lots of different pubs. I think there are probably more pubs than shops. And I remember one was called Lendl Cellar, if I remember. And it was just amazing. I think it's a restaurant now, which is a shame. But we used to go there with the friends and just spend all our evenings or weekends. And I just have the best memories. And again, I was fairly young and I looked young. I still look young, but people really didn't give me a hard time, or people were very friendly. I didn't have any problems at all. And after the pubs, we usually went to clubs, and I really like the clubs there as well because you can dress as you want. You can probably wear close to nothing and it doesn't bother anyone. You don't have any problems. Again, I think it's part of the mindset and mentality that people have. But in France, you cannot wear really short skirts, really short dresses, or you can, but it's quite risky. We have lots of problems with behaviors. And I think the other thing as well, it's not just the behaviors and actions of bad people or stupid people, but also how you feel. For example, if you are a bit curvy, then girls wouldn't really put a dress on or wouldn't really dress with things that fit, really tightly, because of how people could react or, think, oh, you can't wear that because you have that type of body, etc., etc. So it's quite body negative in France, while in the UK you could wear whatever you wanted, and I think it's still true, so whatever you want, and still feel perfectly okay. There is no judgment, and I think people praise that, so they encourage the fact that you can wear what you want, you can be who you want, you can do what you want, and there is no problem. I've never had, or I've never experienced problems in terms of behaviors, a girl being attacked in the street, a girl being followed. It probably happens. I'm not, living in a fairy tale or something, but with my own eyes, I've never noticed that. Okay, the next thing that I loved is the fact that even if you're in a city, you could just take the train and be in like a national park quite quickly. Especially in the north, when I was living in Manchester, I remember I could just take the train for one day. It was just 1 hour to go to it was the Peak District. Yes, the Peak District, not the Lake District. So you just take the train, it's an hour of train, and then you're in a small village in the middle of nowhere. You can walk or take a bus and then start your hike for the day. And it was just great. I loved the Peak District, the Lake District. I'm very excited to go back. I would like to go to Wales to hike there because I think it's amazing. But that's something that I loved, the fact that you are in a big city, but you have quite a lot of transport, and it's very easy to have access to parks and green areas compared to here, where I feel like it's a bit more complicated. And I'm really looking forward to going back to the UK and hike. And I think it's linked to the other thing that I like, which is a bit funny, but it's meal deal. The meal deal in the UK, oh my god, who doesn't know that? But in France, you don't have meal deals. It doesn't exist. So if you want to go and buy something, you have to buy everything separately. It costs quite a lot of money. And we are not good at sandwiches. Salads is getting better and better. But sandwiches, so bad. So bad. And you don't have crisps. Like, no, we don't eat crisps in France. So that's not something we have. But even sandwiches are very basic. And no vegetarian options, never, or only really like a bad option. While in the UK you have amazing sandwiches, you have amazing wraps. You don't have that here. You have really good food, I'm not saying, but you don't have these things, and I miss them. And that's more or less it, guys. I mean, there is probably a ton of other things that I should mention, like the programs. Oh, Love Island. That's something I love, the show Love Island. I don't really watch reality shows, but I don't know why I started watching this, and I was hooked. I can't stop watching it. I'm excited every time there is an episode, and that's just one other thing. I think it's part of the culture as well. British people quite like this. So many other things that I loved about the UK. I could make another video, literally. But I hope you've enjoyed this first part, guys, and this first video about what I loved about the UK. And if you have any other things, let me know in the comments, because I would be delighted to read you. And I'll see you in another video. Bye, guys.